All of these photos were taken on a GoPro Hero 10. Folks, you're very welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't been here before, my name is Frankie Carroll and you're very welcome. A question I get asked an awful lot is how do I take my GoPro Hero photographs? And today I'm going to show you what settings I use in the GoPro. As we know, the GoPro is an action camera, but it can take fantastic 23 megapixel photographs as well. Let's take a look and see how we do that. If you haven't been here before, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and also if you do get something from this video, make sure you hit that like button so the algorithm pushes my video out for other people to see. And also don't forget to hit that notification bell and you get notified on any videos that are coming out, especially GoPro videos. There are 4 things that I believe that go towards making a very good GoPro photo. Number 1 is a good location. Number 2 is going to be a good composition. Number 3 is going to be the settings. And number 4, and most of all, afterwards, is a very good edit. I edit all my photographs in Lightroom and Photoshop. I'm not going to go into that too much today, but I'll do that in a future video. So today we're just going to concentrate on mostly the settings, and let's see what are the best settings to get you the best photographs on your GoPro. Now, if you want to get the best possible photograph out of your GoPro, I always recommend in shooting in RAW. The same as using the standard camera, digital camera, DSLR camera. The best thing to do is shoot your photographs in RAW. That way you're going to hold on to all the detail that's in there and your shadows and your highlights, and you're best going to be able to edit the photograph afterwards. So I headed out last night to the local beach here just to see if I could take 1 or 2 photographs, just to show you as an example. Now, conditions weren't great, it was very overcast, lighting wasn't great, it was a bit dark, but just to give you an example, here's a photograph that I took of the Ballybunion Castle. This photograph is beforehand, so like I said, I shot this photograph in RAW, and then afterwards, when I edited the photograph in Lightroom, this is what the photograph can look like. So that'll give you a perfect example as to why you should always shoot your photographs in RAW. I'm not saying that you shouldn't shoot any other way. I guess when you're getting started off like I did, that you'll use a lot of the auto settings, but try and get into the habit of shooting in RAW, and especially if you do have the ability to edit your photographs afterwards. Okay, so when you power your GoPro on, the first thing you want to do is, if you're in video or even if you're in time lapse, is scroll all the ways over to the right and you get to photo mode. So the first thing I do is, if you click in here, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 options. So you got photo, live burst, burst, and night photo. So the first thing that I do is basically go into photo. So on the right hand side here you see the little pencil tool. If you click on the pencil tool like that, it's going to take you into all the settings. So what I do is I scroll all the ways down here to the very end, and shortcuts. So I set up my shortcuts straight away. So on the lower left I set that up to lens. On the lower right I set that up to EV comp. The upper left I have set to timer, and then the upper right is set to output. Okay, so if I go back into that again, so click on the pencil tool, so up the very top here then you have the options. So output is basically, if you click into that, you have 4 output options. So I take most of my photographs in RAW, so it gives me a better opportunity to edit them as best I can afterwards. So if I go up to the very top here, so super photo, so GoPro is going to take over everything here, and it's basically going to decide all the best settings for taking that photo at the time. Next one down you have HDR. And what HDR does, it's basically like bracketing or exposure bracketing. So it'll take 3 photos, it'll take one overexposed, which will bring in your dark areas. It'll take one regular, and it'll take one underexposed, which would be for your highlights and stuff like that. And then it'll combine the 3 of them together to come up with one photograph. So next one down is standard. So standard is just JPEG. So JPEG is a compressed file. You know, it'll have all the coloring and everything else done for you. So it's just a standard JPEG file, and then the very bottom is RAW. But like I said, I have these set up on my shortcuts already, which will allow me to get it as quickly as possible. So next across from that, we have schedule capture. Never really use that, so you can set it up whatever way you want. Timer is next, so basically you can set it to 3 seconds or 10 seconds. Comes in handy for selfie shots and stuff like that. Scroll down another little bit and we get into the Pro Tune settings. I leave my shutter on auto. My EV comp, I always like to try and protect my highlights. So in EV comp you can, you know, keep it as regular or whatever it is, but I set mine to -1.5. Try to protect my highlights as much as possible. Most of the photographs that I'm taking, you want to set your white balance. You never want your white balance on auto. So I set mine to 5500. I've got my minimum ISO set to 100 and my maximum ISO to 800. You never really want to go above 800. Next to that we have sharpness. I prefer to do my own sharpening in post. You can set that to however you want, so you can have medium sharpness and then high, but I keep mine on low because I'd rather set that myself in post. Coloring doesn't really matter because it's going to be, if you're shooting in RAW, but you can have natural, you can have vibrant. I just leave that at flat. And then we have the option for shortcuts again on the bottom. So if you go into the next one then that's actually here, which is live burst, and if you click on the little pencil tool here, again you can do a schedule capture if you want to put in the date and time and stuff like that. You have again timer options here. You have a zoom option. So again I have my settings in here. Shutter set to auto. Just did -1. You can do like -5 if you wish. Protect the highlights as much as possible. White balance 5500. ISO minimum 100. I have it set at 400 on this. Sharpness on that, set it to low. Color flat, so as you can see it's all pretty much the same again. The next one we have is burst mode, which is probably the second most option that you're going to use. So in burst mode, click on your little pencil tool again here. So the option for lens, I have this set to RAW, so you can set it either if you want to standard JPEG. Again, I like to have control over mine afterwards. The main setting that will be in here is the burst rate. So you have 4 options for a burst rate. So 10 in 3 seconds. So what that basically is going to do, the GoPro will take 10 photographs in the space of 3 seconds. Next one down is it'll take 10 photographs in the space of 1 second. Then it'll take 5 photographs in the space of 1 second. And the last one on the bottom is it'll take 3 photographs in the space of 1 second. So depending, I guess, on what you're using it for. So if you're going through, you know, a lot of fast action shots, then you may want to capture stuff pretty quick. So probably 10 shots in 1 second. I've mine set up just to do 10 shots in 3 seconds because I'm not dealing with a whole lot of fast action whenever I do this. So if you scroll down again we're into the Pro Tune settings. EV comp just set to -1. White balance 5500, which is pretty much, you know, daylight. I set most of my settings at 5500. Minimum ISO 100, maximum 400. Sharpness again, set that to low because you can change that afterwards. Color set to flat, and you have your shortcuts on the bottom. Okay, and last but not least, if you go down to the very bottom here, we have night photo. So this basically is for obviously taking photographs in either low light or at night time. So if you come across and you hit the little pencil tool here on the right. So like I say, again, I take my photographs in RAW so that I can do them in post-processing, but you have the option over here just to do it as a JPEG. So when you're in RAW, you only have the wide lens as an option. But if you go to JPEG, then over here you can select wide lens, you've got the linear lens, and you've got the narrow lens. But like I say, if you're in RAW on your output, then you only have the wide lens. So shutter speed in the middle is how long that you want the shutter to be open. You're going to have to play around with that yourselves and just see what's actually going to work out best when you actually do that. Schedule capture again if you want to put it on a timer. So because it's been taken, it's a long exposure photograph if you like, I like to set mine on a timer. So if you have no timer set, if you push this, it begins to then take the photograph. Problem there is you may have some shake when you actually do it. So I set mine to 3 seconds. So when you actually push the button, then you're going to have the option. It's just going to take the photograph after the 3 seconds. So again, when you come down to Pro Tunes here, your options. So in white balance, I set mine to 4000 Kelvin. That's generally around the area for nighttime white balance. My minimum ISO is 100. My maximum ISO I have set at 800. Because it's a nighttime shot, you're probably going to need a higher ISO there. Set the sharpness to medium. Because it's again a low light photograph, I'd rather have it on medium and still have the ability to sharpen it if I need. Color set to flat, and again set whatever shortcuts you'd like basically there. So back to the main menu again here. Okay, so another option is if you want to set up any custom presets yourself. If you go up here to this little icon in the top right hand corner and you click on that, first of all you can see over here you have a little circle with an arrow on it, orange circle with an arrow, and if you push that, that's basically just going to reset. We say if I do it here, it's going to ask you if you want to reset back to the original settings. So if you ever feel the need that you need to do that. So now what we have here is we have a plus icon. So if you hit on that plus, now it's going to allow you to select any one of the 4 modes that are here. So if we go into photo and I hit the tick mark on that, so now it takes us in here. So you got photo, whichever one you want, if you want to select the 4 again. Now lens here, so what you have is you can select either one of your lenses. So let's say I just select narrow and I want it to be a super photo. Again, you can put in your changes. White balance, I want the white balance to be 4500 we say. Sharpness, I want a low sharpness in it, and there we go, that's my preset. So when you hit the tick box here, it's going to ask you what it's going to be. So let's say it's going to be epic. Hit the tick mark here, and now when I go in, I have my 4 originals, but I also have the epic one here at the top. So if I want to get rid of that again, so go back up here again, hit the icon on the top right, hit the X, show you want to delete this preset, and delete or cancel. I'll just cancel for right now because I want to show you something else. So let's say you have your multiple ones that are here and I want to rearrange them. What you can also do is hit that icon on the top here, hold your finger on this, and it allows you to move it around. So let's say I want to bring it all the way to the bottom. Now I have it at the bottom here, and there you go. So again, like I said, go back in. So we have the 4. If I want to delete that, icon on the top right hand side, all the way down to the end, delete. Yes, I want to delete it, and I'm back to my 4 original settings that are here again. So that's the details and the breakdown of the photo section in the GoPro Hero 10. So thanks very much folks for joining me today. I hope you got a lot from that video, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.